Hey y'all, my internet is running real slow, so bear with me. I'm having technical difficulties right now, but it is running a little slow. Oh boy, I'm still in the hospital, y'all. I don't know why I have not done the counting of days when it comes to me being here in the hospital because I've been here for quite some time. It's been almost 3 months that I've been here. Actually, it has been 3 months that I've been here. Well, good morning, good afternoon. It's morning somewhere. It's afternoon somewhere. It's evening somewhere. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all. I am His Majesty Tremel McCray. And for those of you that care about, what has happened and what has taken place within the past 3 months, I wanted to share with you the story of why I wasn't with my husband when he passed away, or to the very end. In case you don't know, Joseph passed away on the 5th of November, I believe it was. I can't even tell you the exact date that he passed away because I found out. Um, I found the way that I found out was really, oh gosh, I found out by word of mouth that my husband was dead. I didn't find out. Um, I found out a week later. It was a week later that he had passed, and I didn't even know it. A week later, he had passed, and in that week, they had a funeral for him and everything. Uh, his family did. His family did. Guys, let me tell you something. Um, Family can be really, really funny acting when it comes to a death in a family, or when it comes to something happening to someone in the family. Um, so let me start from the beginning of how I ended up here in Virginia and not with Joseph. Uh, Joseph and I got into a confrontation. It wasn't a friendly confrontation. It was a very violent confrontation. There was a gun pulled out, and I was threatened with it. Uh, Joseph threatened me with a gun. He was going to kill me. He had the gun in his hand. He was pointing it. He was taking the safety off. How you doing? He was taking the safety off of the gun, and he was just playing around with it. And I didn't know what to do. I was very afraid of being in the midst of him with a gun, um, because of his behavior. His behavior, he wasn't in his right mind when he pointed this gun at me. I got on the phone and I called Brad, who I thought was supposed to be my friend, Brad. I called him. Y'all, the maintenance lady is cleaning up my bedroom. But I got on the phone and I called Brad and I explained to him. I said, Brad, I said, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm leaving. He said, well, why are you leaving? I said, because. I said, Joseph has pointed a gun at me. He said he's gonna kill me. And so Brad started on this campaign. He tried to start on this campaign to get me to not leave. Tramel, why are you leaving? I said, because. I said, either he's going to hurt me or I'm going to hurt him. I am sick and tired of fighting with him. I don't want to fight with him anymore. And he said, well, Tramel, maybe you should just give him time to calm down and, and then you can go back home. I said, no, no, Brad. I said, I'm done. I'm just done. I was ready to go. And I was, y'all. I was ready to go. And he kept saying to me, you need to, um, uh, uh, at that time, Brad, unbeknownst to me, aka Lips, he was conversating with Joseph, I'm assuming, because he kept on calling me and telling me how wrong I was for leaving. You shouldn't leave, Trammell. It's the illness. It's the illness. You know you shouldn't leave. And I'm saying to him, I can't take it anymore. And I couldn't take it anymore. I had been I had been by Joseph. Joseph had done some heinous things to me. He had said some heinous things about me. He was telling his uncle all these lies, telling his uncle that I stole money, telling his uncle that I stole his clothes and threw them away. And his uncle was believing him. And his uncle was jumping in my face. His uncle was like cursing me out and telling me, telling me off and calling me a thief. And Joseph was lying and telling his uncle all these things. And y'all, let me tell you something. That's the worst thing you could ever do to me. The worst thing that you could ever in life do to me is lie on me. I can't stand when somebody tell a lie. Don't lie on me. Lying on me will get your ass cut. I will cut you everywhere but the bottom of your motherfucking feet for lying on me. And you can call me psychotic. You can say that's my bipolar disorder. You can say whatever the fuck you want to say. Don't lie on me because I'm an honest person. I tell the truth. When it comes to me, when it comes to things that I've done to people, when it comes to words that I've said about people, I tell the truth. I don't have no shame in my game. None whatsoever. Don't lie on me. Don't lie on me. Lying will sure enough get your ass cut. It will. It'll get your ass cut. It'll get your ass cussed the fuck out. I can't stand it when somebody, oh, I'm getting infuriated right now just thinking about it. I can't stand when somebody lies on me. Don't lie on me. Don't ever lie on me. But Joseph was lying on me. He was saying all these heinous things, and he was doing all these heinous things. He was playing with the gun and acting like he was gonna shoot me. He told me he was gonna shoot me. I'm gonna blow your fucking brains out. Get the fuck out of my house. I mean, Joseph was carrying, and that's why I left. And so Brad was on the phone with him, unbeknownst to me, trying to get me to come back to the house, to go back to the house. And I was like, no, I'm not going, Brad. I mean, you can forget it. I'm not going. I'm not going back to the house. He was just persistent. He was persistent, and he was taking sides, and he was mostly taking Joseph's side, but he was taking sides and trying to make me believe that I had done something wrong, when in actuality I hadn't. I was running for my, as far as I was concerned, I was running for my damn life. I was running for my life. What do you do if you're in the house with your husband and all of a sudden he just flipped the script on you and start pointing the gun at you? What you gonna do? What are you going to do? And then to add insult to injury, his fucking family, like his cousin Val, that bitch, she gonna talk about I left him for dead. To be honest with you, at that point in time, I didn't give a fuck whether he was dead or alive. All I know is he wasn't gonna shoot me with that gun. He wasn't gonna shoot me with that gun. But like I said, I moved forward from that. I realized that my husband at the time was not in his right mind. He was not in his right mind. Joseph was very he was saying things and doing things that were just not usual. He was just doing things and saying things that a normal person wouldn't say. He accused me of stealing his clothes. He said that I took his clothes out the closet and I threw them out. When in reality, he's looking in the closet. I'm looking in the closet. All his clothes are in the closet. All of them. I was like, Joseph, what clothes are you talking about? You know what clothes I'm talking about. You're jealous. I said, I'm what? He says, you're jealous. I said, what am I jealous of? He said, you're jealous because Uncle Fred bought me clothes and he didn't buy you none. I said, Joseph, I'm not jealous of that. I'm not jealous of that. Trust me, I'm not. I had just as many clothes as he did. You know what I'm saying? And so he said I was jealous. Um, I got to the bus station and I tried to call him. And I said, Joseph, I said, I want to know if at a later time can I come and get my things. If you left it here, you can't fucking come and get it. You ain't coming to get nothing. I ain't giving you permission to come to this house and get nothing. I mean, he cursed me out, y'all. When I tell y'all he cursed me out, he cursed me out like a sail on leave that day. I said, you're angry at me, aren't you? I said, you're angry because I left. You're mad. I'm not fucking mad at you. I wouldn't, if you was the last person on earth, I wouldn't want you to come back here. And he told me that. He was like, if you're the last person on earth, I would want you to come. I said, you sure? I said, because I'm getting relieved, Joseph. I said, I'm getting relieved. I said, I'm getting ready to get on this bus and I'm going to Virginia and I am out of here. You can go wherever the fuck you want to go, Shamir. You can go to hell for all I care. This is what Joseph said to me that day. This is what he said. Those are his words, verbatim. So after I got off the phone with him, I got on the phone with Brad again. And I told Brad, I said, listen, I'm on the bus. I'm on my way to Virginia. He said, what do you mean? I said, I've caught the bus. I said, I'm at the bus stop. I'm at the bus station and I'm catching the bus from Atlanta to Washington, D.C., where my uncle is going to meet me. And he said, okay, well, then call me when you get settled where you are. And that's exactly what I did. I called him exactly where and got settled where I was. Um, in the meantime, there were things set in motion. Certain things were set in motion while I was gone, when I was gone. Um, Within the weeks to come, Joseph and I, we had made up and we talked and we talked about what happened and you know he had a more reasonable head on his shoulders when I was talking to him, and we kind of like, I guess you want to say, we reconciled because I explained to him. I said, Joseph, well, I'm in the hospital, and I said I'm in the hospital because of my foot, and I've been here for the past 2 weeks, and the doctors will not let me travel. I said, but as soon as they give me clearance to travel, then I'm coming back home. And he was like, okay. I said, in the meantime, how are you doing? And he started crying. And I said, Joseph, why are you crying? He said, Tramel, I'm not doing good. I'm not doing good at all. And I said, really? I said, what's going on? And he told me what was going on. He explained to me what was going on. And he, uh, oh God, it was terrible. It was like, y'all, um, you ever been in a position where somebody is telling you, somebody that you love is telling you what's going on and you can't do nothing about it? That's how I felt. I felt so helpless. I did. I felt so helpless about, him being ill in the hospital because he, at that time, that's when I found out he was in the hospital. And I felt so helpless because there was really nothing I could do. I'm sorry, y'all. The nurse was checking my vitals. The nurse was checking my vitals. They check your vitals like every 4 hours here. So, okay. So the reason why, okay, I was conversating with Joe. So I used to call him every day. We used to talk on the phone, because I was here in the hospital in Virginia, and he was in the hospital in Georgia. So we would talk every day, and all of a sudden the phone call stopped. I was not able to talk to him any longer. Why? I know y'all asking why. It was because his family was there. Now I know y'all asking yourself, what difference did it make that his family was there? And I'll tell you why. I would call his hospital room, and his uncle would answer the phone, and I would say his name. I would say, "Hello, Joseph." And his uncle, who knows my voice, he wouldn't say anything. He would just hang up on me. Mm-hmm. Y'all sweet old Uncle Fred. He would hang up. He would hang up on me every time I call. He would either hang up on me or he would pretend like he didn't understand English. He thought it was so um, funny. He would call. I would call, and he would say, "So sorry, no speaking the English." Hmm. So I never got an opportunity to speak to Joseph anymore. I would try to call every day, and every day that I called, I would run into Uncle Fred answering the phone, and he would hang up on me. Now, me and Uncle Fred, we was really at odds because I had cussed him out. I had cussed him out when I left Joseph, when I left the house, and I was still cussing him out on social media. Oh, I was letting him have it on Facebook, child. I was dropping subliminals. Yep. And his family was telling me how wrong I was for cussing him out. Why am I wrong? He refused. to let me speak to my husband. Every time I tried to speak to my husband, he put a stop sign in front of it while he was there. So through word of mouth, I found out that his family was down there for a little while. I was like, oh, okay. And I thought it was a good thing for Joseph, but it was a bad thing for me because I wanted his family to see what was going on with him. I wanted them to see his behavior. I wanted them to care enough to just be there for him. But they took it to the limit. They went to wherever. I don't know if it was the administrators. I don't know if it was the doctors. I don't know who it was. But somehow they went to people in the hospital and told them not to give me information about him, nor was I allowed to speak to him. If I called him and they found out, then they were to disconnect the phone. So I'm calling there, trying to speak to my husband. Every time I'm trying to call him and speak to him, they're connecting me to the nurse's station. Oh, excuse me. They kept trying to connect me to Joseph Nurse. I said, okay. So they would connect me to what I would assume is the nurse's station. And, I would explain to them, yes, I'm calling. I want to speak to my husband. I tried to call his room. He's not answering his phone. They're like, oh, well, maybe he's asleep. You want to call back later? I say, okay. I call back. Same thing. They tell me the same thing. He's sleeping. Do you want to call him back? I said, I just really want to know how he's doing. Uh, you know, well, let me take your number down and I'll have his nurse call you. Y'all, everything fell upon deaf ears because I never got a call from his nurse. I never got a call from any of his nurses. So, y'all, this is like weeks going by that I'm trying to talk to Joseph and I can't speak to him on the phone because his family is there. And every time they see there's me on the phone, they're hanging up. And so, um, they're hanging up the phone. Uh, it was just, it was a time, it was just tumultuous. They were, um, they were making false accusations, his family, especially his Uncle Fred and his cousin Val. They was making all these false accusations. Like Val, she was saying that I left Joseph for dead, and she was calling me all kind of bastards and demon seeds and all these other names and things. And I'm like, wow. Because y'all, let me tell you something. One thing that I appreciated about my marriage was my husband's family. I thought they were the greatest people in the world. When I tell you, I thought they were the greatest people in the world. I thought they were the nicest people in the world. But when something happened to Joseph, they turned on me like a pit bull and they went straight for the neck. I did. I really valued them. I really value them. At the time, I really loved them and would have rocked with them in any kind of way. I would have went with any kind of decision they wanted to make had we been friends. But no, they were like his cousin Val. She turned into a bitch. When I tell you she turned into a bitch, she turned into this pit bull that just wanted to just rip my throat out. She said I left him for dead and I was a bastard. Matter of fact, if you go back and look at the first video that I did, when Joseph and I split up, I said our friendship, our separation was an amicable separation. She went in on me. You're a lying bastard. Um, and she said that I left him for dead. I didn't. I didn't. Y'all, I didn't leave Joseph for dead. I didn't leave Joseph for dead. It was just a coincidence that he went into the hospital at the same time I went into the hospital. I never left him for dead. Unfortunately, I could not travel. I was not able to travel back to Georgia, and that was due to health reasons. That was due to my foot, and I had just had my toes amputated. There was no way in the world that I was going to travel from Virginia back to Georgia. I didn't have the strength. When I got to the hospital and they checked my foot out, they discovered I had an infection so severe that they had to put me on antibiotic fusions. Okay, so um, never Joseph and I we never fought anymore. We didn't fight anymore. I used to call him, and I would call him, and I would encourage him to get well, and I would say, Joseph, please don't give up. Please fight. Hold on. I said everything is gonna be all right. I used to tell him that, and he would be like, Shamel, I don't know. I think I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna die. And I would be like, Joseph, don't say that. I said, stop saying that. So one day I got a phone call, and the phone call I got was from the doctors. Doctors that Joseph that were caring for Joseph. He was under their care, and they said, "Excuse me," they were like, "Can we speak to Mr. McCray?" And I said, "Well, this is he." They said, "Well, we have your husband here in the hospital," and I said, "Yeah, I know you have my husband in the hospital," but I was taken aback because I didn't understand why they were calling me. Um, oh God, this part is so hard to tell. But they said, we didn't know you existed, and I said, what do you mean? What do you mean that you didn't know I existed? Well, they went on to say that um, They didn't know he still had a husband. They didn't know we were married. Um, and Still at that time, I don't think they took our marriage very seriously. And so I put another lady on the phone, and she's telling me what's going on. She's like, starts telling me what's going on and tells me, your husband is in the hospital and he has made a decision to not take any more medication, and he's made a decision to not do dialysis anymore, and he has decided to not be treated for anything. And I said, okay. But in the meantime, on the inside, I'm like screaming my head off. And so these doctors that I was speaking to, they were like, well, we didn't know you existed. His family told us that he was not married. His family told us that there was no significant other in his life. Because what happened was these doctors said, well, we looked on his HIPAA papers, we looked on his hospital papers, and all we saw was your name and your phone number. And so that's how they got my phone number. And so I'm like, okay. I thought, this would be the end of me not being able, excuse me, to communicate with Joseph. I thought that at this time I would have an open line to speaking with him. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. I said to the doctors, I said, listen, I don't want his family to have anything to do with his welfare or with, you know, what you're doing to treat him. And they said, well, oh, Mr. McCray, they don't want you included. The family thought it best that he go to hospice. I said, go where? He said, the family thought it best that you go to hospice, but he goes to hospice. I said, is it that bad? They said, yeah. I said, well, I can't. I said, Joseph, I can't go nowhere. And I fought. I said to these doctors, I said, no. I said, he can't go to hospice. I said, y'all have to do everything in y'all power to save my husband. Please try to save my husband. I want y'all to save him. I said, I'm going to call him, but y'all have to do everything y'all can to save him. And I said, if there's anything that you guys need from me, if there's anything that I can do, give me a call. So they said, okay. Didn't think I was ever going to hear from them again. Mm. Hmm. Oh, gosh. They told me that I would never hear from him again. His family, they told me that. I don't know when they left, but they left Georgia and came and he was again by himself, Georgia by himself, but they had left. And that's when oh Jesus, that's when I was able to speak to him again, but very little, because by that time his health started to deteriorate. His health really started to deteriorate and go down. And so, in his health going down, y'all, he was not able to speak. He had a speech impediment. He was not able to speak. He was not able to walk. He was not able to make decisions on his own or for himself. And this is really weird because this is what happened. And this is what actually happened, guys. I'm going to give y'all an example. I would call Joseph and I would try to talk to him on the phone. And I started to notice that his behavior was childlike, like meaning that he was acting like a child, y'all. And when I say he was acting like a child, he had the mind of maybe a 5 year old. Because I would speak to him and I would be like, "Hello, Joseph." He'd be like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I say, "Are you okay?" "I'm okay. Uncle Fred called me today." And I'll be like, "Joseph, are you all right?" And he would be like, "No, I'm not okay." He would always tell me he was not okay. And I would have to talk to him very slowly, and I had to talk to him in a manner where he can understand. I would say, "Joseph, I want you to eat your dinner, and I want you to behave." And And so he told me our clothes were there. He said everything was there. He said his phone was in the house. His cell phone was in the house. He said that his car was at the house. Everything was at the house. And so I said, okay. So it had been my intention on going there this month to go and get the car and to, basically figure out what I was going to do with our lives. And the week I had got me a ticket, a bus ticket to go to Georgia. And the week that I bought the bus ticket to go to Georgia, I got a phone call. And the phone call said, Shamel, how are you doing? I said, I'm doing fine. She said, well, how's Joseph? I said, Joseph is doing fine. She said, Shamel, I have something to tell you. I said, what? She said, Joseph passed away on Tuesday. I said, no, impossible. Impossible. There's no way he passed away. I just spoke with him. So he was like, Joseph passed away on Thursday. I cannot tell you how far my heart dropped that day when she told me that. And I was devastated. I was just completely devastated. This woman had just told me that my husband passed away. And I'm like, how did she know before I knew? I was so hurt. I was so hurt. I cried. I cried and I cried and I cried and I cried and I cried some more and I cried some more. And guys, I cried that whole day. I cried. It was like there was no sun in the sky. There was no reason for me to breathe. There was no reason for me to live. Me, instead of me picking up the phone and leaving. Oh, and it's been hell ever since. It's been pure hell. I don't know what Joseph's body is. I don't know what they did with his body. I thought because I was his husband that they would need my consent in order to do anything with it. But I guess that's not true because I don't know where Joseph's body is. I have not seen a photograph. I have not seen anything or heard anything about Joseph and funeral arrangements. As far as I know, he could be buried somewhere in Grant's tomb, for all I know. Oh, Jesus. Y'all, it's been pure hell. I don't know where my husband's body is. I've not had a funeral for him. I've not made any funeral arrangements for him. I don't know what funeral home he's in. I don't know if the hospital released him to the family. I don't know. I don't know where Joseph is at all. All I know is he disappeared. He's gone. He's disappeared. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I don't even know if he's dead for sure or not. The only way I got confirmation that he was dead is because his uncle left a message, posted a message on his Facebook page saying Joseph passed away. His family didn't even call me. They didn't even have the decency to call me and tell me that my husband was dead. Now I know you mad at me. You mad at me. Okay, okay, you can be mad at me all you want to, but I deserve to know. I deserve to know that my husband was dead when he passed away. They never even picked up the phone to call me. And these people, his family, like his sister Tracy, she called herself a woman of God. You can't tell her she ain't a woman of God. You can't tell her that. She will throw a Bible in your face in a minute and tell you that she's a woman of God. And she allowed this. I called Tracy. I called her and nobody would answer her phone. I kept calling. Nobody would answer her phone. I kept calling. I got no answer. Then finally I got an answer and somebody said, "Why the fuck you keep calling this number?" And they hung up on me. I had never heard Tracy talk like that because my sister-in-law, she was not a person that cursed. Now my nieces and nephews, they started calling me at this time. My niece Tati, my niece Tiara, my niece Tamika, my nephew Jamar. They started calling me. They all started calling me, to make sure that I was okay, to make sure I was all right and stuff like that. And I explained to them, the situation, what was going on. I didn't know where Joseph was. My sister, she was trying to get information as to where Joseph was because although Joseph's family wasn't speaking to me, they were speaking to my sister. And so, my sister would communicate with them. Both my sisters would communicate with them. And so with my sisters communicating with them, they would keep my sisters informed, as to what was going on and stuff like that. But, in the family communicating with my sisters, there were limitations. I'm pretty sure there were certain things that they didn't tell my sisters. Uh, and they definitely told Brad everything. They told him a lot. He knew more about my husband than I did, but he was told that he could not tell me. He was not allowed to tell me what was going on with Joseph, and he was not allowed to tell me what what his family said. So he was claiming that he was stuck between a rock and a hard place. I'm like, but Brad, I said, you're supposed to be my friend. You mean to tell me if something is wrong with my husband, if something is going on with him, you're not going to tell me what's going on? And he said, no, Tremel, I'm not going to tell you what's going on. At that moment, in that moment then, is when I began to stop speaking with him. But anyway, Joseph passed away. And since his passing, I have not seen his body. I have not been given any funeral arrangements, nothing. When I say I have had no communication with his family, I have had zero communication with his family. And it's not because I didn't reach out to them. I've been reaching out to them. I've been reaching out to his family, asking them, you know, this is Joseph. This is Joseph. What would he want? What would he want? I mean, I understand that y'all are upset with me, but Joseph wouldn't want us to be at odds with one another. What would Joseph want? And I've been reaching out to them. I've been trying to reach out to them, trying to get information on, whether or not he had a funeral, what's going on. I don't know what's going on. And guys, you just don't know. This is my husband. You don't know what it's like to, you don't know what it's like to be married to someone and love someone and not know. I have no idea. I have no idea where he is. I haven't seen his body or anything, and I think it's so cruel. I think it's so cruel. I'm like, how can his family be so cruel? How can they be so cruel that they wouldn't even tell me when he passed away? They're so cruel, they didn't even tell me, they didn't call me and ask me what I wanted or anything. They just they just took his body. They just took his body and I don't have anything. I have nothing. I have nothing. I don't have, my husband wanted to be cremated. I don't know if he's been cremated or not, but if he has been, I don't have any ashes. I don't have anything. I don't have anything. It's like they want to wipe me off the face of the earth when it comes to him. Oh gosh. I'm sorry, y'all. This is so painful. It is. I'm in this hospital trying to fight off this infection that's in my foot. I've been in the hospital for the past 3 months. And the one thing that I regret is not being there when he was dying. I so badly. Oh gosh. My husband died alone. He was by himself. And I wanted to be there. I wanted to be there, y'all. And I couldn't. Oh, I couldn't be there for him. I couldn't hold his hand. Oh gosh. I couldn't kiss him. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't hug him or anything. He died alone. And there was nothing I could do. And his family, they didn't tell me anything. They didn't tell me when he died. They didn't call me, offer any condolences or anything. To this day, I don't know where he is. I don't. Oh. Mm. There's two people that answer asking questions about my departure from Georgia, and I'm not gonna continue to go back and forth with anybody about what has taken place because I'm gonna be right, and you are going to say that you're right. Now, first of all, the reason why the hospital got in touch with me, they got in touch with me through my uncle. The hospital got in touch with me through my uncle. My uncle, I had given his phone number to the nurses at the nurses station one day when I called there. So that's how they got in touch with me. That's how the doctors got in touch with me. Now, for all of you that say I abandoned him, as I stated before, what would you do if someone you loved was pointing a gun at you and was telling you that they're going to blow your brains out? What would you do? What would you do? Because that's what happened to me. That was the catalyst. That's what that's where everything began. I remember one day I was talking to Brad, aka Lips, on the phone, and I said to him, I said, "Do you think I was wrong for leaving?" And he was like, "Trammell, I really don't want to answer that question." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Because you're not going to like it." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Yes, I think you were wrong for leaving." I said, "Are you kidding me?" And I say to you people in the comment section, Trisha, why am I wrong for leaving? If y'all can give me one legitimate reason, I would accept that and I would own it. But I'm not owning that. I'm not owning that. I am not owning that I left when I did. I'm not accepting that I was wrong for leaving because I wasn't wrong for leaving. I don't think anybody in this comment section, if they were in my shoes, would have stood there and allowed someone to point a gun at them and threaten them? Trisha, I don't know what you're talking about, sweetheart. You keep on talking about I was in the hospital shortness of breath. Oh, that was the other day. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I am in the hospital. I'm in the hospital. I'm in the hospital now. You want me to prove it? This is my hospital room. I am in the hospital. This is my hospital room. I'm in a hospital bed. I am in the hospital, sweetheart. So what are you talking about? I am in the hospital and I've been here in the hospital for almost 3 months. And you know what? This is so crazy. I thought you was one of our friends and you're an enemy too. I thought you was one of our friends. I really did, Trisha. I thought you was one of our friends. You're not. I'm finding out a lot of people, death brings out so many things in people. I'm finding out a lot of people that I thought were my friends and that I thought would give me support and would be there for me. I'm finding out that it's all lies. Trisha, she asking me all these crazy, stupid ass questions on here. She ain't my friend. None of y'all ain't my none of y'all people that's asking me these crazy questions are my friend. Because if you were my friend, instead of asking me these stupid ass questions, you would be trying to comfort me or trying to support me. Thank you, Smurfy. Uncle Fred, you can continue telling that lie all you want. Yes, you did. You called for a wellness check, but you weren't the only one that called for a wellness check on Joseph. No, I didn't call and ask for a wellness check on Joseph because I didn't think anything of it. And the reason why I didn't think anything of it because I had been fighting with him about going to get some help. And you and the family and everybody else was telling me that I was wrong and there was nothing wrong with him. So why would I call and do a wellness check on him? I knew, yeah, Trisha, I knew that Joseph was not mentally stable. But what was I supposed to do? Why did I leave the state? Because I didn't have no other place to go. I didn't. We were in Georgia. We lived in Georgia. I didn't have no family down there. Joseph had some family down there. I didn't have no family down there. I didn't have nobody. Nobody. And that's why I left the state. And just as quick as I got on the bus in Atlanta and left and went to Virginia, I could have got on the bus and came back. That wasn't the issue. The issue wasn't me leaving the state. The issue was me leaving. Uncle Fred gonna say to me, "I'm glad you left, but I don't like the way you left him." How did I leave him? How did I leave him? I don't like the way you left him. Okay, you don't like the way I left him? How did I leave him? Thank you, Prince 007. I don't understand what people think I'm gaining by lying. I don't have nothing to gain by lying. I'm not trying to make myself look good. I'm not trying to make myself look bad. And Uncle Fred keep on talking about how I'm telling these lies. What lies am I telling? Oh, so he did pass on the 5th of November. See, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that because you know why? Because Joseph's family didn't even have the decency. They didn't even have the moral decency to call me and tell me that he was dead. To this day, y'all, I don't even know where his body is. I don't know if they buried him. I don't know if they cremated him. I don't know where my husband's body is, but I promise you this, I'm going to find out. See, because this is what the end result is going to be. I'm going to find out where my husband is. If he was cremated, I'm getting his ashes if I have to get an injunction to get them. If he was buried, his body is going to be dug up and he's going to be cremated the way he wished to be. My husband wanted to be cremated. So that's going to happen. There's going to be some lawsuits put in motion, both small claims and civil, because his family had absolutely no right whatsoever to take his body from me. I apologize for the silence. My nurse was in here giving me my meds. And I'm not allowed to record, my YouTube while any of the staff is in the room. So I apologize for the delay. But anyway, what are y'all talking about the $15,000 GoFundMe? Mm-hmm. Yes, I have a $15,000 GoFundMe set up for Joseph because I'm going to have my own funeral for him. I'm having my own homegoing celebration for my husband. For my husband. Now I don't know I don't know all the stuff y'all talking about. He was gonna get his divorce papers together and all this other stuff. The fact of the matter is he never got any divorce papers together. The fact of the matter is regardless whether he got divorce papers together or not, he never signed anything saying he wanted to divorce me. He never told me that he wanted to divorce me. As far as I'm concerned, we were still a married couple. And y'all keep on talking about I have to lie. What am I lying about? I'm not lying about anything. I don't have to lie. I don't need nobody to have no funeral. I do not need a body to have a funeral. Now, for those of you that want to contribute to the GoFundMe, know that whatever you contribute is appreciated. For those that don't want to communicate or don't want to contribute to the GoFundMe, by all means, you don't have to. Y'all can say whatever y'all want to say, Christine Parks. You can say that I'm performing. You can say that my feelings aren't real. Y'all, yeah, you're not inside. You don't know me. You don't know me. So you can continue with that narrative all you want, but your narrative is not true. Your narrative is not true. Trisha's narrative is not true. Uncle Fred's narrative is not true. He knows it. But you know what? This is what I say about the stuff that Joseph's family has done to me. Y'all gonna reap what you sow. I promise you that. You are going to reap what you sow. What you put out, you're gonna get back. Uncle Fred is spewing these last words that Joseph allegedly said that he didn't want to have nothing to do with me. He was done with me. He was finished with me. I never heard that. I never got that information. I never got that memo. But you know what, guys? I can go back and forth all day with Uncle Fred and go back and forth with Trish and go back and forth with Christine Parks, whoever the fuck she is. I go back and forth with all of them all day, and we still not going to agree. It's still going to be a disagreement. At this point, their opinions really don't matter. They really don't. I know I don't give a fuck. I don't care about their opinions. Their opinions really don't matter. Um, this is not a warning, Uncle Fred. I mean, this is not a threat. This is a promise. I promise you, if I find out that you had anything to do with taking my husband's body, I'm gonna sue you. I'm gonna sue. See, the pen is mightier than the sword. The pen is always mightier than the sword. So while I'm sitting back and I'm not saying nothing, I haven't said anything to Joseph's family. I reached out to them one last time. I got absolutely no answer from any of them. And so I now am going to go on my quest, on my journey. And if that requires me to file a lawsuit, I'm going to file a lawsuit because what y'all did was fucked up. All of y'all. What y'all did at the end of the day, at the end of the day, y'all can say whatever you want to say. Joseph was still my husband. What Joseph's family did to me was fucked up. They didn't even call me and tell me he was dead. They didn't even call me and tell me he was dead. We were together for 5 years. You thought I was that heartless that I would have left him for dead? Then so be it. So be it. But trust me when I tell you, and I told you this before, Fred Samuel, I will get the last laugh. I will get the last laugh. Get your affairs in order. Get your story together because we may be going to court. With that being said, guys, I'm out of here. Um, I'm going to sign off because I've had enough of this. And y'all make sure y'all walk in love, peace, sunshine, and happiness. And always remember, it's Team McCray all damn day. Talk to you soon.